TPP. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership consists of 12 countries. Trans-Pacific Partnership. For RCP it was 16. So be very clear, in TPP there are 12 member countries are there. So from a prelims point of view, just have an idea where these 12 countries are. It's in the Trans-Pacific region. It's in the Trans-Pacific region. So this 12 countries, again you have to go and look into the map and see it where these 12 countries are located. So you can easily recognize it's NAFTA are included. NAFTA members are included in it. So 3 are there. What all constitute NAFTA? Canada, US and Mexico. So then from Latin America, Peru and Chile is there. So 5 countries from the American region, both North American and Latin American region. NAFTA and Peru and Chile from Latin America. Now from the ASEAN, this is very important for you. From ASEAN, 4 members are there. From ASEAN, 4 members are there. So out of 10, only 4 members are there in Trans-Pacific Partnership. So these countries are very important. One is Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam and Brunei. So 5 plus 4, 9. Then Japan, then Australia, New Zealand. So what is the specialty of these 7 countries? They are also member of RCP. So how many members are common to RCP and TPP? 7 members. So make a parallel preparation. Okay, be very clear with that. Okay, now I'll tell you what this TPP. See, in February 2016, all the 12 under Obama presidency, US have, all the 12 member countries have signed the TPP agreement. And once in February 2016, it was considered as the mother of all free trade agreements. And once this agreement was signed, there were a lot of news on it. What this Trans-Pacific Partnership can do, not only for the entire world, including India. And most of the provisions of Trans-Pacific Partnership was, everything was WTO plus provisions. Many of the TPP provisions were WTO plus provisions. What do you mean by WTO plus? See, plus means addition, which was not there or which was not implemented, or which an item still under negotiating under WTO, which is not part of WTO multilateral agreement, have been included under Trans-Pacific Partnership. Okay, and the the controversy regarding the Trans-Pacific Partnership was that in relation to TRIPS. See, we had seen that, I told you, just have an idea, where the USA failed in WTO in relation to TRIPS agreement. See, in Doha round of negotiation, developing countries have won a very important factor. What is that? They got TRIPS versus public health facility, where it said that if the public health system is affected, TRIPS provisions can be violated. And then under WTO there are so many clauses like where it can prevent evergreening of patent. Evergreening of patent means patent misused for a quite longer period. So actually what this TPP have done is that it has given the intellectual property rights holder more protection. Instead of protecting the common man, TPP have protected the property holder, in the sense that it has provisions under TRIPS where it did not recognize this TRIPS public health provision. So in the sense that, and then it was supporting the, it has given a very important thing, it was added very important thing, what is called as investor settlement dispute mechanism. Investor settlement dispute mechanism, in the sense that if any investor, including the intellectual property right holder, if he feels that his right has been violated, he can go for foreign arbitration. This is we already discussed under bilateral investment treaty, where how this foreign arbitration will affect it. And more than that, so the biggest concern of TPP was in relation to this TRIPS plus provisions under WTO. So TRIPS plus provision under TPP, which countries like India and even the global NGO, MSF, have raised concern. All the health organization, NGOs, have raised a concern about this provisions of Trans-Pacific Partnership once it comes into force, because it was rather giving protection for intellectual property owners or multinational companies. Okay, so that was one concern. Second thing which concerned especially countries like developing countries like India was the stringent labor standards and environmental standards put into it. So it's clearly said that, okay, the any sector where child labor is involved, they will not import from that country. So it means that indirectly it will become very difficult for, say, if this type of stringent, see, already under WTO it has been under the Doha round, we have said that, okay, any labor related issue should not be discussed under WTO, it should be dealt under ILO, but this provision have been added by US under Trans-Pacific Partnership. So many of the stringent provisions which have been added, especially stringent environmental safeguards. Okay, so basically in short we can say that it has given, instead of supporting the common man, it was supporting the multinational companies, their rights. That's why, so and we were worried about once TPP comes into force, there will be large scale of trade diversion. Especially to countries like Vietnam. Already Vietnam is an ASEAN member. We already know that in relation to textile exports, see, now try to understand that how India is important for US. It's very important. Like in RCP we discussed about India-China relation. When we discuss about TPP, India-US relation, try to understand that US constitute 50% of our exports. It's a big thing. US constitute 50% of our exports, and the other members, that is the rest of the member, constitute 12% of the exports. So 27% of our exports is going to these TPP countries. Now once this trade diversion happens, it will affect our export sector, it will affect our employment, India's employment opportunities. And Vietnam is already, see, our competing countries like Vietnam will have an edge because of this TPP, the market access which they will get under TPP. So we were very much concerned, but luckily, once this Trump came to power, his policy, see, even not only Trump, even the Hillary Clinton, both were against, both were in their party, both the presidential candidate was against, but Trump was more vocal in anti-TPP. It was there in his manifesto also. So try to have an idea that, okay, what TPP could have done, especially for India's growth and also to its investment and other related provisions, and what the US could not have achieved through WTO, or what it wanted under WTO, it could have achieved under TPP, and it might have affected our RCP also. How? Because 7 members are common. They will try to bring those provisions under TPP under RCP also. So That was another concern for India, but luckily all these were concern is for time being is over. But see, we are still not clear about TPP, how it will evolve, what will the other member countries. So without US, I don't think so. Now what is seeing is that countries like Canada is now directly negotiating with India for a free trade agreement. Countries like Canada is directly, but India is ready to go for a free trade agreement. But try to understand that now countries are not, see when now in the present, see this is a new trend in relation to trade agreement. That countries are not don't want free trade agreement only in goods, because already goods tariff many of the countries have already reduced or eliminated tariff or import duty under goods. So they are not only so in many of the free trade agreement which the countries are going for, they are more interested to include investment as a part of free trade agreement. They want investment to be part of free trade agreement. Now, and once they include investment under free trade agreement, they want investor protection. And many of the countries, including European Union and Canada, all they want is in relation to investment under trade agreement is that they say that, okay, we are concerned about India's bilateral investment treaty. We are concerned about India's bilateral investment treaty. Which bilateral investment treaty? India's model bilateral investment treaty. What is the problem in India's model bilateral investment treaty? There is a very controversial clause, the provision is what is called as investor state dispute mechanism. What this investor state dispute mechanism says that the investor have to exhaust all the domestic options before going for foreign or international arbitration. It means that you have to be in India in courts, so, and you know the record of India's judicial system. So they are very concerned about this provision, and Canada is saying that at least for me give us some adjustment. So India says that we can't do it only for you, because if for a particular country we can't do it. So that's the reason why many of the free trade agreement is blocked because of this our model bilateral investment treaty. This is special provision. Maybe in the coming months the government will make some changes to the, see our model bilateral investment treaty or our present trade negotiation have changed mainly because of our bad experiences what we had after economic liberalization. We have without experience we have done so many things. This has happened in relation to India-ASEAN free trade agreement in goods. This has happened in many of our bilateral investment treaties where in many of the cases we lost investment disputes, we lost it. So, but again try to understand that all are related. See, that's why I am telling that in trade agreements, it's not only about goods, it's not only about services, it's not only about investment, it also includes intellectual property rights also. So, they are putting everything under one. That's why we call these agreement as comprehensive free trade agreement. It's not only in goods and services, many sectors are, even they are including competition as a factor, regarding government procurement, which are new issues under WTO. So many of the issues which is WTO negotiation have not started properly have been included under many of the regional trade agreement, including this mega regional trade agreements. So this might have been a very big issue for India if TPP might have been. So luckily before TPP is ratified, Trump withdrew it. So before ending, we'll solve this 2016 prelims question on TPP. Now regarding this question, we'll see the first statement. See, with reference to TPP or Trans-Pacific Partnership, consider the following statement. First statement says that it is an agreement among all the Pacific Rim countries except China and Russia. So is it correct? No. There are in TPP how many countries are there? 12 countries. See, China is not part of TPP, Russia is also not part of TPP. But there are other countries, ASEAN countries. See, we know that only 4 ASEAN countries is part of TPP. Then other countries are also there. So this statement is wrong. But here the UPSC, I will say that this was one of the difficult questions. This was one of the difficult questions for one reason, that they have given the word all. So by seeing this word itself, it's given a hint, it's a wrong statement. Then after that, they said except China and Russia. Then students faced difficulty. See, many of my students, earlier batch students, have this problem, that they made this statement wrong. They thought that the statement is correct, but actually it was wrong. Reason was, actually I'll tell you the reason why students make wrong regarding these type of questions is that you are not clear with the map, world map. So my suggestion is that when you study about all the regional trade agreement, what you need to do is look through the map, do a brain mapping, which all regions are there, which all countries are there, and then prepare accordingly. So if you are thorough with the map, when you read the statement, you will easily get to know that the statement is wrong. So first statement is wrong, but this was one of the, I'll say that this statement is one of the most tricky statement put by UPSC in 2016 prelims. Now see the second question. In the second question, it says that it is a strategic alliance. Is it a strategic alliance? No, it is not at all a strategic alliance, and for the purpose of maritime security only. See, from the word only itself you get to know that it is a wrong statement, but Trans-Pacific Partnership is basically a comprehensive trade agreement, free trade agreement. So it's not at all a maritime security agreement or strategic alliance. So this statement is also wrong. So in this question, both the statement have gone wrong. So I'll say that, okay, so find out how UPSC asks questions. So in our earlier RCP question, it was a very simple question. UPSC asked RCP question is one of the simplest question UPSC have asked, but TPP question was one of the trickiest question. So you need to see, more than knowing TPP, you should also know the world map thoroughly, then only you can answer this question. See, regarding the second statement, UPSC used to do this. They give some other thing. They say that this is, instead of giving trade agreement, they have given strategic alliance. Like that, in many of the questions, they have changed it. See, this question also, see that you see my tricks, okay. Our keywords are here. But again, in the first statement, keyword is there, the two keywords are there, all and except. So be very careful, but regarding the topic like this, be very thorough with it. My suggestion is that after going home, go through take your world map, check the TPP countries, check the RCP countries and compare it. Then also all the trade agreement, recent trade agreement which has happened, be very thorough with it. So if UPSC asks a similar question like this, you can easily answer it. Okay, and prepare well for your coming Sunday test. See TPP, I asked a question from TPP and RCP. Thank you.